If anyone has seen Dirk or has his cell phone, call him. Good afternoon, everyone. We have all our panelists in place. My name is Harry Carey from AT&T, and I'm the chairman of the Greater Danbury Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to all of you in attendance here today. It's an important time for our city, and we appreciate the interest of the business community for turning out today. I'd like to recognize some people in the audience. We have State Representatives Bartlett and Tabersack. This first over here. State Senator David Cappiello. We have the First Selectman from Ridgefield, Rudy Marconi. The First Selectwoman of Sherman, Andrea O'Connor. The Honorable Judge Diane Yammon. And the former mayor of our city, Jim Dyer. Our moderator today is attorney Fran Collins. Attorney Collins, as many of you know from our previous debates, a Danbury native, is a member of the law firm of Collins, Hannafin, Garamella, Jaber, and Solo. He's a graduate of Miami of Ohio University and the University of Connecticut Law School. He represented Brookfield in the Connecticut General Assembly for 4 terms, serving as House Minority Leader and Speaker of the House. He is currently Town Council for the town of Brookfield and Planning and Zoning Council for the town of Ridgefield. He is Board Chairman of CATIC Financial and past Chairman of the Greater Danbury Chamber of Commerce. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator, Fran Collins.
Good afternoon, and as those of you who've been here before know, I'm the timekeeper for this debate. After I introduce our candidates and our panelists, we'll get into the debate format, which is the same as it was for the last 2 mayoral debates. There'll be a question from the panel directed to a particular candidate. That candidate will have 1 minute to answer. The other candidate will have 30 seconds to respond. We anticipate having each panelist ask about 4 questions. We will also, depending upon time, accept questions from the gathering here. There are index cards and pens on your table. If you would like to pose a question to either one of the candidates, would you please write that out in the early part of the debate. At some point in the format, I will ask the chamber staff to pick up those cards, and at the end of the panelist questions, we'll try and get 3 or 4 of those questions from the audience in. So with that brief statement, I'd like to recognize both of our candidates who were kind enough to be here with us today. The first is Helena Abrantes, a candidate for mayor. She was born in Portugal, came to the United States in 1967. She has 2 children, both of whom are in college. She's presently the part owner of a family-owned business, Atlantic Restaurant in Danbury, as well as a paralegal at the Penny Payne Law Firm. Helena has had extensive involvement in city government. She was on the Common Council for over 3 terms, as she was a legislative leader for 2 terms. She was elected to the position of city clerk and served from 2001 to 2003. She currently serves on the Democratic Town Committee. She's involved in many civic and community projects, is presently on the board of directors of the Danbury Community Radio, a Portuguese nonprofit radio station, and channel W22BN, a local channel. She received the 1996 Danbury Bar Association American Dream Award, which honors naturalized citizens who have made a significant contribution to the Danbury community. The Danbury Jaycees also recognized her for many contributions by twice nominating her for the Distinguished Service Award. In 2007, she received the Connecticut Immigrant and Refugee Coalition Outstanding Naturalized Immigrant Award. Please welcome Helena Abrantes. The other candidate for mayor is Mark Boughton, the current mayor of the city of Danbury. Mark graduated from Danbury High School, earned his Bachelor of Science in Education degree in American History at Central Connecticut State University, and his Master's in Educational Psychology at Western Connecticut State University, where he now serves on the Alumni Board of Directors. He served in the United States Army Reserve, where he earned the rank of sergeant. He returned to Danbury High School in 1987 to teach social studies, and has served as a member of the Danbury Planning Commission from 1995 to 1998. He was elected state representative from the 138th District in 1998 and re-elected in 2000. He achieved a perfect voting record in the General Assembly and served as a member of the Education Committee and ranking member of the Environment Committee. He was elected mayor of Danbury in 2001 and re-elected in 2003 and 2005. Mark lives in Danbury with his wife, Phyllis. Would you welcome Mark Boughton? Our panelists today comprise Dirk Pirifort, the political reporter for the News-Times. He is a Bethel native and a political reporter in Danbury. He came to Danbury from the Connecticut Post, where he worked as a court reporter for more than 4 years. He's actively worked as a journalist for more than 8 years and won several awards for his writing, including the Society of Professional Journalists Award for depth feature reporting. He's a graduate of Western Connecticut State University, where he studied anthropology, sociology, and journalism. Our next panelist is Alan Morton. Alan is the Dean of the Ansel School of Business at Western Connecticut State University. He has degrees from Harvard, the Wharton School, and Pace University, and served as a finance professor and department chair at Western prior to becoming dean. His professional and academic interests include corporate governance and ethics, economic development, and service on business and community advisory boards. Our final panelist is Gary W. Hawley. He is a member of the Hawley Construction Company, where he serves as president. He received his Bachelor of Arts degree from Western Connecticut State University. He's a member, director of the Savings Bank in Danbury, the Greater Danbury Chamber of Commerce, Western Connecticut State University Foundation. He's a past director of the Nonprofit Development Corporation of Danbury and the Danbury Hospital Development Fund. He's also He has received the Centennial Awards for Excellence from Western Connecticut State University and the Greater Danbury Good Scout Award. Gary resides in Danbury with his wife and 4 children. Now that the introductions have occurred, we'll move in right away with the program, and we'll have the first question from the panel from Dirk Paracourt for Helena Abrantes. I'm sorry, the mayor just reminded me. I was trying to cut this short, but we're going to have opening statements. Opening statements by the candidate. I'd ask them to not go beyond 2.5 minutes, folks. Mayor, thanks for reminding me. Let's start off with Mayor Boughton.
Thank you very much, Fran, for hosting this event. It's terrific, again, to see you participating as a moderator, and I'm glad that you're here. And I also like to take a moment to thank Steve Bull and the members of the Chamber of Commerce for all of their hard work to make our chamber one of the best in the state of Connecticut. And I'm also pleased to be in the room with the individuals that have made jobs and economic growth a reality in our city. Once again, Danbury has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the state. And just this year, we've seen tremendous growth in the median income of our residents. Danbury is working, and we have much to be thankful for. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe that this election is about our future, and it's about the potential and the promise that Danbury has to offer each of its residents. And this election is also about results, and I'm proud to report that we've accomplished many things in the last 2 years. The hallmark of this administration is to do more than just talk. It is to achieve. It is to do things, and achieve things we have, like a new fire station for the west side, a remodeled fire station for the King Street area, a new parking garage for City Center, a new police station on Main Street, a new state-of-the-art athletic field for our children, 2 new elementary schools, improvements to our middle schools. We've acquired more open space. We've provided energy tax relief for our seniors, and we've completed a host of other public improvement projects. Indeed, these are hallmarks of a vibrant administration. And this is also an administration that is proactive and an administration that is not afraid to tackle the tough issues. And in the next 2 years, we're going to continue to work on traffic improvements, improve our economy, and take the steps necessary to manage our growth and development. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored and humbled to be your mayor, and I look forward to today's discussion of the important challenges that face our city, because I believe that Danbury's best days lie yet ahead. Thank you.
Next opening statement, Helena Abrantes.
Thank you. I thank the Chamber for hosting this forum, and I look forward to discussing the important issues facing Danbury and our citizens over the next hour. Today, I submit to you that Danbury can do better, that Danbury can be better. Danbury and all her people deserve better, and I believe Danbury needs and deserves new leadership. I offer the people of Danbury the experience and integrity necessary to lead our city. I've been elected and served as city clerk, and have been elected 3 times and served over 6 years as leader on the Common Council. Active in our community, I've been a board member and a volunteer for the Red Cross, the Literacy Volunteers, Citywide PTO, and Cub Scouts. I'm a founding member of Danbury Community Radio and a leader in the Portuguese community. My family and I are proud parents of proud products of Danbury's school system. I'm a paralegal, I'm a family business owner, as you've heard, and I've been recognized locally and statewide for my contributions to Danbury, such as the American Dream Award from the Danbury Bar Association. I am committed to return vision, hope, respect, and results to the governance of our government. As mayor, working with the Democratic team, I plan to pave a new path of progress for Danbury. The Danbury difference, all that is good about our community, I say to you, is the results of years, in fact, decades of strong, effective Democratic leadership, especially over the last half of the past century. This is the same brand of leadership that I and my administration will embrace and employ. My vision and path of action for the city adheres to the principles and practices that brought Danbury to see her best days. The priorities I place paramount are financial stability, economic security, education, and public safety. Also, smart growth must be employed to halt unbridled development. and make major traffic improvements. I will provide the leadership to grow, respect for our community, respect for one another, and to fortify environment and overall quality of life. Our future depends on a balanced approach in managing our city, balancing proper growth while protecting our neighborhoods, and the Danbury physical character will be a hallmark of my administration.
Thank you, Helena. Don't give up the mic because you're getting the first question from Dirk Terraport.
How does it benefit Danbury to have the city police working in tandem with the Immigrations and Custom Enforcement Agency to arrest members of the illegal immigrant population?
That's actually a very interesting question. First of all, let me just mention something about the Danbury 11. The allegations made in this case are deeply troubling. At this stage, we must allow the litigation to move its way through the courts. It is clear, however, if the allegations are proven true, the mayor lied to us about the city's involvement in this incident. It is to our collective detriment. As mayor, I will be forthright and honest with the public when addressing any issue, especially sensitive ones that affect the lives of people and their families. The issue with the police getting involved with the 287G, I've actually spoken to the police chief in Brewster with regards to this program. The police really need to start doing the job within the city. As walking throughout this city, people have complained to me that the outskirts of Danbury are being neglected. There's drug situations going on through other parts of the neighborhood, and that needs to start being addressed rather than just addressing the situation downtown. And I do feel that's very important.
Mark Boughton, care to respond?
I think the question was about what about the prospective partnership with Immigration and Customs and Enforcement. And I believe that a strategic partnership at any level with federal law enforcement officials, state officials, and local officials is a beneficial thing. There are positive things to the ICE Access program, but we've got work to do. We've got to go do our homework. From a public policy position, we need to look at what the impact will be in terms of our police. We need to hear from the chief of police. We need to hear from our corporation counsel to understand the impact in terms of legally whether or not we can engage in such an agreement. But at the end of the day, we have to provide whatever resources and assistance we can to federal law enforcement officials when they're doing their job. It is our duty. It is our responsibility when we take that oath of office as mayor, when I take that oath of office, to defend and uphold all federal, state, and local laws.
Our next question will come from Alan Morton to Mark Boughton.
My question is on globalization. Thomas Friedman tells us that the world is flat and we must all compete in a flat world. How would your administration work with area businesses to prepare the Danbury workforce to compete in the global economy?
Well, I think one of the challenges that we have to look at is understand that manufacturing jobs are going to go where labor is cheap. That's just a reality of that global economy that you mentioned. So what do we do to combat that? Well, what we have to do is we have to reinvent ourselves and remarket ourselves in our community to highlight the assets that we have. Some of the assets that we have are our people. We have one of the highest educated workforces in the United States of America, right here in the city of Danbury. Those individuals can help staff things like organizations like Mankind. It's currently ramping up with 800 new jobs and a $250 million investment in our community. They have helped staff Boehringer Ingelheim, where we just recently finished their expansion with 800 new jobs. And they're helping startup companies like Biodell, where they hope to grow to 700 to 800 new jobs within the next 3 years. Those are the growth industries: pharmaceuticals, IT, corporate development, healthcare. That's where Danbury can find its niche. We're never going to be able to compete on a global level with basic manufacturing. Those days are gone, and I think we have to recognize that.
Helena Abrantes, response.
I do agree we have to start concerning ourselves with bringing more business into Danbury. Yes, Mankind Pharmaceutical is a great corporation. They did come in here when a proposal was worked out with Gene Eriquez during his administration, and at that time they were brought into the community. They wanted to take over the Davis and Gett building, and they had plans of expanding within the city. So that was a very positive move during that administration. I am a little bit concerned with some of the zoning changes that are proposed in Danbury. We need to modify some areas, especially in the industrial, the heavy industrial, the light industrial, and our commercial zones. And one of my concerns was we gave up a prime piece of property in Fairfield County. It was one of the best pieces of property in Fairfield County to build multifamily housing on the west side of our city. And that property could have been used to bring in a lot of research and development, pharmaceutical companies. And I don't feel that we can continue to move in that direction, and we do need to be aggressive and to obtain other companies to come into the area.
Thank you. The next question, Gary Hall.
Mrs. Abrantes, you just touched on this issue, but would you please discuss your position regarding the proposed changes to the city's industrial zoning regulations?
Sure. I am very disappointed in the changes because some of the proposals to our city's industrial zoning district, they will affect some of the companies coming into the area. The perfect example is Risden left Danbury, and there's nothing right now that will be going into that location, especially since the person who was planning on buying that facility was going to be putting in a health club, and that will not be allowed in the zoning redistrict. I do feel that I would like a manufacturing company to come back into that area. We've lost companies such as Amphenol and other businesses also that have moved out. Municipal government needs to move forward and be innovative in attracting and retaining businesses and quality jobs to our community. These proposed changes would be, at times, detrimental in achieving this objective and are seriously flawed. During this administration, we did lose the critical mass of light and industrial, as I had mentioned, on the west side. It was a poor judgment and I think a poor decision because now we have extensive amounts of homes that will be coming into that area and our schools that are at maximum capacity. We cannot fit any more students in our school system. We're up to approximately 112% percentile of students in our high school, and it is at a critical situation which concerns me. Both of my sons were students at Danbury High School, and you cannot fit any more students in that school. We need to attract the research and development, as I mentioned, and manufacturing businesses and their quality jobs have been lost as a result of some of these changes if they do occur.
Helena,
Danbury?
Can I ask you?
Sure. Danbury is losing its competitive edge due to these and other restrictive, costly, and bureaucratic actions, and I will work with the business community by employing smart growth principles that facilitate proper growth with more quality jobs for our citizens.
Yes, you can't criticize a city for allowing a multi-purpose development on the west side, which includes 1 million square feet of corporate space, and say we lost industrial space there, and then want to put a health club on one of our prime pieces of industrial space as well. The point is you're losing industrial space, and that's the whole point of these zone changes, is to preserve industrial space. So we don't have a health club going in where we can recruit a factory. So we don't have a hotel going in areas or areas where we want to put industrial land. And the second piece of these zone changes, which is equally as important, is transparency. People want to know what's happening in their neighborhood. They want to know if there's going to be a factory or some kind of intrusive development that's close to them. And these changes give opportunities for public hearing and public notification. That's what residents have told me over and over again. And at the end of the day, it's important that we let people have input and say in what happens in their community. Danbury doesn't have a problem attracting economic development. We have a solid track record with that. We have the lowest unemployment rate in the state. Our problem is managing economic development, and that's what these zone changes are all about.
The next question, Dirk Fairfort to Mayor Boughton.
Hi, Mayor Boughton. Ms. Abrantes mentioned the overcapacity of the schools. What's the city being done to address the growing student population?
Abrantes, a response?
The biggest investment we make as a community is in education. For our children and adult learners alike, our excellent public school system makes us unique amongst Connecticut students and cities. My children and I graduated from the Danbury school system. Our education set us on the road to a successful future, but we must continuously and aggressively work to improve our schools. Education is a protected right in Connecticut. Since 2001, the mayor has promised universal all-day kindergarten programs to no avail. I'll immediately work to implement the recommendations of the school use analysis. I'll construct the 8 permanent modular classrooms necessary to make universal all-day kindergarten a reality. I'm committed to our existing magnet school and will explore other magnet or charter schools for technology, science, and the arts to reduce overcrowding and to ensure that our students have the best possible choices today. Also, I would like to mention that the magnet school and the Roberts Avenue School was a project that was proposed during the prior administration, which I was at the council at the time, and the residents didn't approve that project. It was the vision of our prior Democratic administration.
The next question, Alan Morton to Helena Abrantes.
WestCon's vision statement highlights the role and the importance of a diverse university community in achieving and creating a vibrant learning community. How would your administration work with WestCon to capitalize on the city's diversity?
Well, first of all, the one thing that I can say, I do work with a lot of the students from Westcon presently, because I grew up in small business in Danbury, and I take the opportunity of working with those students to come into my restaurant to work with me and to learn the process of business, of what it's like to run a business, which at times can be very, very difficult. Westcon is a wonderful opportunity for most of the businesses within the area. It provides so much of a balance for a lot of the companies. People are being educated for a lot of our technology and a lot of our advancements. And that is something that I would like to set up within the community to look at the best possible means where they can take action to those students and use them within the facility. And I would love to partner something of that nature. And also, it would also benefit a lot of the middle schools. I was at one point on a special diverse team when the prior administration was in office, and I worked with Westcon and different department heads throughout the city. And we came up with a lot of proposals where those students could be used in different facilities, and it was very productive.
Mark Boughton.
I think Westcott provides a lot of opportunities for our community. Most importantly, we look at Western State University, we look at changing the university along Main Street. The city's about to be upgraded White Street specifically to that reason, so the street stations so you can walk from the main campus down to Main Street and utilize some of the businesses that are there. We also begun a reorganization of the Eye Center into the Eye Center Authority so that we can create a better and stronger town-down link between the university and the city. That authority is up and running and had an outstanding season this year. And we'll also look to support the opening of their Performing Arts Center. That particular facility will also enhance our community by allowing all of us to enjoy the arts and entertainment and to celebrate all that Westcon can be.
Next question, Gary Hawley.
Mayor Boughton, I've been involved with many discussions concerning the cost of doing business in Danbury. More specifically, how do you justify the increase in water sewer rates and building-related fees?
Well, let me just say that, first of all, our water rates are 100% below the state average. They are extremely competitive, and they are extremely, can be used really as a way to attract economic development. But also, in terms of our water and sewer rates, we've had challenges with those enterprise funds. Why do we have challenges? Because in the decade of the 1990s, we cut rates and lived off of the surplus
Helena, your comments.
I'm afraid that we're losing our sense of financial balance. The previous Democratic administration I was a part of handed the current administration the strongest financial condition in the city's history. Yet this administration, due to an overall reliance on bonding, has run up our credit card debt with reckless abandon and jeopardized the stable property tax we worked so hard to achieve. Property taxes have been raised in the past 5 years. Sewer and water rates and fees for almost every purpose or municipal service has been dramatically increased as well. I know that for a fact because my water and sewer rate in my business increased 4 times in 4 years since I've owned the business. I'll work to restore stable property taxes, reduce water rates, and lower or remove onerous fees for certain services the public relies upon City Hall to provide. Proper economic growth and job development requires a stable tax policy.
The recent community attitude survey showed traffic congestion is a problem that's on the minds of the majority of residents. What would you do to better plan for the future to avoid further congestion on city streets?
I'll propose the first dedicated traffic improvement program in over 20 years, like was done in the 80s to bump North Maple Avenue and Garrett Boulevard. Working with transportation experts, I'll analyze traffic patterns and alternatives, solicit public input, and propose major road improvements. Speed bumps, electronic speed signs, and more traffic lights are not traffic improvements. More traffic lights and poorly synchronized ones increase idling time, affect air quality, and traffic flow. Also, I'll relentlessly call upon the state to address long-standing problems on state roads like North Street and Mill Plain Road. And I'll work tirelessly for the bus and rail funding like the restoration of the New Milford to Danbury line. Traffic problems impede progress, stifle economic vitality, and make it harder to do business and live in Danbury. This is one of the city's major challenges, one of my top priorities, and requires an appropriate investment to effectively change.
Just last question, we heard that we're bonding too much and we're spending too much money. And my opponent stands here and says she wants to do a traffic bond. What do you think that's going to cost? How are we going to pay for it? She just said that we're way over bonded. So what's the first thing she's going to do? Step right up and borrow more money. At the end of the day, we have a traffic plan. It's right here. And we're in the process of rolling this out, and we're in the process of implementing it. Just approved this back in January 2006. In addition to that, we have improvements coming to key intersections through the state, like Mill Plain Road, South Street, White Street, North Street, Backus Avenue, South Main Street. All of these are state roads that require cooperation with state government to get them going. And those projects take time. And one thing about our financial standing within our city, this year we showed a surplus of $24 million. When I took office, our surplus was $5.3 million. So don't tell me about financial management, because I've been able to handle a whole mess of financial issues that I've been able to clear out over the last several years and put us on solid financial footing. And don't listen to me. Listen to Moody's and Standard & Poor's that say the city practices sound financial management, continues to show solid growth and solid fund balance growth throughout our management practices. So I'm proud of where we are in terms of our financial management.
I asked chamber staff if they would go around and pick up the questions from the audience this time. We'll move ahead with the next question from Gary Hall. Oh, I'm sorry.
Al Gore encourages us to be stewards of the environment. How would you promote green and sustainable environment and economic development in your administration?
Thank you. Well, the first thing I would do, what I have already proposed, is that we begin to continue to acquire open space in Danbury. I've set a goal for this community of acquiring 1,200 acres by the year 2012. And we're in the process of doing that with long-standing negotiations over some key parcels, including 120 to 150 acres on the west side of Danbury, Terry Hawk, and other areas throughout the city that we think we're going to be able to acquire over the next couple of years. So one of the key core components of this is having a solid open space preservation program that we're working on. And that also includes cattle farming, I might add as well. In addition to that, we have a task force that's looking at green initiatives throughout the city, purchasing power that's green, and looking at how to reduce emissions from our city fleet. But I will say this,
The undeveloped land we have is all we're going to get. We must enact green principles and practices to responsibly care for the precious place on earth we call home. We owe this to our children and future generations, and we need an aggressive local plan to do our part. I'll establish the Danbury Green Initiative to open space, cut costs, and reduce carbons. I'll propose expanding energy-efficient systems in the public buildings and establish a campaign with incentives for residents and businesses to do the same. We will increase recycling through education and enforcement. We will reduce the number of city vehicles and convert 20% to hybrid or other alternative fuels. And I'll take the steps necessary to protect Terry Wild Park so no developer can acquire any part of that property. Also, with regards to the energy plan, I was provided information with the energy plan, and I am open to listen to what they have to say, just like any administration should be open to that situation.
Next question, Gary, now your turn to Helena Abrantes.
What, in your opinion, is the most significant issue in this mayoral election?
Development is critical. We must practice smart growth. Our environment and quality of life depend on a balanced approach in managing our city. You can't openly invite development and then point the finger somewhere else when someone complains about it. Over 3,000 multiple family units have been approved and supported by this mayor. I'll balance proper growth while protecting our neighborhoods and the physical character of our city. Snarl traffic and public safety issues are problems that result from unbridled and uncontrolled growth. Both of these issues paralyze opportunities for positive economic growth that provide quality jobs and adds to our tax base. Every new proposal must be weighed by the impact and demands on city services. All we've seen developed in our city are condominiums and McMansions. I'll offer an incentive to people who build houses in a price range that the average working family can afford. Keeping people in their homes and providing new ones they can afford is key to keeping our city strong.
Well, again, I just want to go back to my previous comment. I don't think that you can say you're going to regulate development and then invite a power plant to come in the middle of the fourth ward next to residential areas that'll have all kinds of emission issues. I think there's a problem with that, and I think it shows a general lack of foresight about what this community needs and what this community ought to have. I also think you have to start talking about when is it enough for Danbury? Danbury has to host every single large-scale facility in the tri-region area. We have a transfer station, we have the wastewater plant. Now we're talking about hosting a power plant. That kind of development thinking is inconsistent with our quality of life and will hurt our quality of life. And finally, let me just say that incentivizing housing seems to me a very similar process that we took under our administration. In key areas, we should be incentivizing housing. In other areas, it's not practical. It certainly doesn't work. And I also want to say that good development is a reflection of good planning. When I took office, there was no plan of development in our city for the decade of the 1990s. In fact, I had to go to the legislature to get them to compel Danbury to do a plan of development. So every decision that was made in our city was made in a vacuum. It didn't look at what would happen before and what would happen after that decision. We have a plan of development that we're managing to, and we've started that development process 5 years early to make sure that we have a proper plan to follow going forward into the future.
Next question,
Mayor Boughton, speaking of development, what would you do in the future to prevent developers from creating upscale housing only to turn them into student apartments?
Well, I don't think that the apartments on BRT are ever going to be upscale housing unless you call a single room efficiency upscale there. But those products in there were designed to be, I'm sorry, I got a quarter salad. But anyways, they were designed to be an impetus, to be an engine that will help our downtown. And the piece of this is really important. If you want to change our downtown, then you're going to have to change who is downtown. It's really simple. If you're happy with the way the downtown looks, then don't incentivize market rate housing down there because it'll be the same thing that we see every day. In fact, we have struggled with downtown for the last 30 years. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Incentivizing market rate housing in our downtown is a good thing. It's about being able to give people an opportunity to live within our urban core and spend their money within our urban core. And it's not a similar policy, new practice. In fact, my opponent has pointed out to several policies that were continued from the last administration. Liberty Terrace was a project downtown that was, a developer was given a piece of property for $1, George Davon. Maple Avenue. Helena voted to give Maple Avenue to Joe DeSerto. Silva, of all people, it's beyond the objections of our planning commission that said, don't do it. She did it anyways. Gave him a piece of property for $1 to build condominiums down there. Maybe those were good projects, and maybe they weren't. But the problem is that you've got to create a critical mass downtown. To do that, you've got to change who's downtown.
You want to wrap it up, man?
Yes, sir. So I think it's certainly important to be able to incentivize housing downtown. We've also did it with the ice arena, where we not only gave away the property, we gave them a tax deferral on top of it. So at the end of the day, we're going to continue to follow those policies and practices that will bring that critical mass of economic development to our urban core.
The previous administration, the forces of government were directed to reversing decline. Our efforts encouraging business and residential investment in downtown were met with great success, such as the Patriot Garage, the Ice Arena, the Danbury Green Galleria, Rail Museum and Computer Station, Library Technology Center, Elwood Park, Bishop Curtis Park, Palace View, Harrison Square, Liberty Terrace, and the streetscape improvements. The mayor's policy towards downtown has been one of neglect. Library Plaza, Kennedy Park, the North Main Streetscape, and the Library Place Garage were the vision and ideas of the previous administration. The only attention to downtown offered recently has been granting tax deferrals for BRT. At no time did the prior administration or administrations before that give a private developer a tax break for 7 years. Yes, maybe they did sell a piece of property to De Silva. It was a road that was no longer being used, and they developed it into a beautiful development that is bringing in a tax base to the city. And also, Davon took over that property, which was not bringing any type of tax revenue into the city. And it has been a beautiful development, and we've done something with that property, and we've brought in taxes to add to our tax base.
The next question, Alan Morton.
80% of the businesses in Connecticut employ 20 or fewer people. What would your administration do to attract and retain small business in the Danbury area?
Well, economic development is very important to me, to bring businesses downtown. We kept and facilitated the expansion of Belimo, GE Capital, Sendit, which is now Cardis, and we brought new businesses like Mankind Pharmaceutical to our city. We created quality jobs and significantly expanded the Danbury tax base. It's just like a flyer I received at home where the mayor is taking credit for selling Roberts Avenue School to WestCon, building a new elementary school, building a new magnet school, building a new athletic stadium at Danbury High School, and building a new library place parking garage, refurbishing Library Plaza, Kennedy Park, the North Main Street streetscape, and other projects. They were not your vision, they were not your ideas, they were not your plans. The roles that you projected in these projects was cutting the ribbon. Others you've been, that you provided have been slow to start. In the 6 years, I give you credit, it's wonderful. We did the groundbreaking for the police department, and that is a positive move within the city. Also, one project that I think would be very substantial is taking that piece of property that is now presently the fire department, the police department, I'm sorry, and investing in that and providing it to a bidder within the city to sell and to renovate that area and bring vitality back to downtown. Also, we have to start enforcing our zoning requirements downtown to bring businesses back into downtown. We have some industrial area. We have to do something to attract businesses, and it's very important. And if we need to bring the businesses in and give a business a tax deferral, as we did for GE Credit, that's the positive move. That brought in over 200 jobs, which provided people to stay in our hotels, which these people came out and spent money in our malls, in our stores, and in our restaurants. And that was a very positive thing, and we need to continue that move in that direction.
Thank you. I think the question has to do with what are you going to do about small business and how are you going to help small businesses within the city. And let me just say this first of all, that this administration was the first administration to create an Office of Economic Development. And we were fortunate and lucky enough to hire Wayne Shepard to do that job. And Wayne's job is to meet with small business people who are either thinking about starting a business or possibly in business and then coach them to help them expand and grow their business by looking for new sites and new areas. The second piece of that is we have a business coaching organization that I brought right into City Hall called SCORE, made up of retired business executives that will sit down and design a business plan for you to help you grow your business. We'll teach you how to manage your money and how to do your payroll. And we'll be there at every step of the way to assist you in terms of
involved, we touched on this a little bit, but I think it's so important that maybe we can elaborate a little bit more. Our Main Street corridor, I feel, from 84 to South Street has been vastly improved over the last few years. It's the hub of our city, the heart of our city. What improvements, what further improvements can you see being made to our downtown district?
Well, the first thing we gotta do is continue working with the state of Connecticut to improve traffic flow. One of the things we're working on right now is South Main Street, because that'll use federal money to be able to marry that up to Elmwood Park and to finish that all the way to Memorial Drive. The second piece of that will be to continue working on the police station to serve as an anchor of that North Street area of Main Street. And we're also working at White Street and linking that into Main Street so that Westcon students will feel more comfortable coming down into the downtown and spending their money. We need to continue to work on making our city a more pedestrian-friendly space, and we're doing that right now by putting in handicap-accessible ramps on all of our sidewalks so that people can get up and down the sidewalks a lot easier. And we need to do that by continuing to be vigilant about following through on our traffic laws and making sure that people feel safe in terms of the pedestrian walkway. Danbury, in that sense, is doing very well, and we can do more. One of the things we'd like to do is once we complete our police reorganization, is deploy more officers and have more visible presence in our downtown, particularly in the Main Street area from Library out to and past White Street, right in that general vicinity. We also can do more in terms of our parks. This year I proposed completing and renovating the back portion of Kennedy Park, which I believe it's time that we look at that area and try to enhance and create the farmers market even more than it's going already. So those are some of the small things that we can do in terms of infrastructure. And some of the other things that we can do is, again, to encourage more development in our urban core where we have the infrastructure to support it. That's what smart growth is encouraging development where you want it and not where you don't want it. And we'll continue to do that as we move forward in the administration.
One thing that also has to be done downtown to make it more visible and more attractive to most businesses would be zoning enforcement. One situation that's occurred downtown that's very discouraging to myself and to many people that do come down to Main Street is very unattractive. Most of these businesses are not supposed to be having posters and signs and everything through the windows in their businesses downtown. It's very detracting. It just scares people away from Main Street. And the zoning regs are out there. They need to be enforced, and they used to be enforced quite a bit. Where I know that when I worked in a facility part-time downtown, nothing was allowed to be put in the windows except within the zoning regs. We need to clean up downtown. Downtown, Main Street actually looks very dirty, and it's very disappointing. And I know that the bicycle police need to be out in full force as they were before. Bicycle police was one of the best investments the city made. They would go, travel through the businesses, people felt comfort. They felt good when they saw the bicycle police downtown. People were not assaulted or accosted, and people, it used to be very vibrant downtown. The concert on the roof is a very positive movement. People enjoy going down there. They love the ability to sit outside, to relax, and enjoy music with their families, as I do myself. But the bicycle police was something that just attracted people to downtown. I had a young woman that worked for me that was walking on Temple Avenue at 10 o'clock in the morning, and she was accosted by someone. She had to call the police, and I think that's a very sad situation where someone cannot even walk downtown on a street right off of Main Street. Main Street is not the only street. The streets connected to Main Street themselves are very important and very critical to the maintaining of downtown. And so that, to me, is a critical issue that has to be addressed.
Thank you. I'm going to give our candidates three questions to wrap up the forum here. These are questions from the audience. The first one to Helena Abrantes. How you plan to fund 24 police officers? Can't hear you.
I'm sorry. How do you plan to fund 24 new police officers and keep taxes down?
We can keep taxes down. We can bring more businesses into Danbury, which increase our tax base. We have to look at the books. We have to see what's available and what's not available. Until I sit down and evaluate everything that's happening within the city, I don't know, but those funds will be made available. And if it has to be a partnership with businesses themselves, we
will do that. But we will be able to add more police officers to the police force. It's critical at this point. We don't have a sufficient staff to provide safety for the residents in Danbury. And we can do that with all of these homes that are up for sale in Danbury. That's a serious concern for me. We have over 600 homes in Danbury that are in pre-foreclosure status. And when we were walking door to door, people were leaving the city. They weren't even in the home anymore. They had moved. And we need to do something to attract people to come back into Danbury. We can improve the tax base within the city. We can bring people back. And I will work very hard as well with my staff and financial director to see what the best avenue is in obtaining funds to provide those services.
Yeah, I mean, we just heard my opponent say that there are 600 homes in pre-foreclosure status, and she wants to raise taxes and drive even more people out of their house. I think that's part of the problem with that kind of thinking. When you throw out a proposal that says you want to hire 24 officers, that's going to cost you $2.5 million to put those officers on the street. And what's worse, and what's irresponsible about that, is there's no plan to deploy them. How are you going to use those 24 officers? What impact are they going to make? We're not sure about that because there isn't any meat to that proposal except let's just go out and say we're going to hire more officers. We absolutely need more staff. There's no question about that. How do you do that? Two ways. One, you develop a strategic plan, which we've done called Vision 2009. In that plan, we ask for new hires, but we also ask for civilianization. That means taking those jobs that are currently held by a lieutenant who's paid $65,000 a year to answer the phone and say good morning to every police department. Take that lieutenant, that police officer, and put him back out in the street and let him police. That's what police officers like to do. And then we'll hire a civilian to backfill that position at half the cost. By doing that alone, we can put 5 or 6 new officers back on the street. Then we'll go out and look at hiring new people. But when you throw out plans to just go ahead and add more officers, that can be detrimental without a plan to be able to deploy that. And the second piece of that, let me just mention that it was an administration in 1983 that discussed civilianization. I was able to negotiate that this year, 24 years later. In fact, here's a memo from Chief Macedo that says next year we're going to be civilianized. It was this administration that was able to get an agreement for the union to civilianize our department. And that will have a profound impact on the amount of officers that we can put on the street. That's how you lead, that's how you manage money, and that's how you make sure you don't drive people out of their homes by watching every dollar that's spent.
The next question is directed to Mark Boughton. It's as follows. Do you consider it seemly for a city administration to distribute to all its News Times readers a 44-page booklet booklet 7 weeks before election of the city administration's leadership is to take place?
The question is, do I think it's seamless? It's good SAT word. Let me just say that not only do I think it's okay to do that, it's my duty to do that as prescribed by the city charter. The city charter is clear that says after July 1, the city must provide a statement of conditions and accounting and budget to the residents of the city. And we've done that each and every year, and we've done it without fail, and we do that without prejudice. And that's my responsibility to report to the residents of the city how the taxpayer dollars are being spent. So yeah, I think it's okay to do that, and we'll do it again next year.
Helena, any comment?
Well, it was sort of convenient that as of June 1st it's supposed to be submitted, but it's now October, and it was just submitted last month, and we waited for the new police station to have their inauguration so that those photos could be inside of that booklet. It is important that the residents know what's going on financially within the city. That does have to be disclosed and submitted to taxpayers and the residents in the city of Danbury. But it doesn't have to be full of photos, and it doesn't have to be full of political innuendo in that booklet. It could just be with financial information, which would cost the residents a lot less money.
The final question is directed to both of you. It's, what is your position on illegal immigration, and how does it affect our city, and what is your position on ID cards? I guess that's 3 parts of one question. Whoever wants to take it.
I understand that The mayor's rhetoric has done nothing but pit people against people. It has solved no problem, it's cured no ill, and brought us no closer to a meaningful solution. The mayor has depicted Danbury in a false and negative light on the national stage. This is a problem created by federal inaction. Cities should not be recklessly enacting questionable and unconstitutional laws in a transparent attempt to suggest that there is a complete solution at the local level of government. The federal government needs to enact immigration reform, enforce the law, and has to provide border security. I came to this country from Portugal at 4. I was a U.S. citizen by 14. I believe in the rule of law, and I will enforce it. I also believe that the solution to the effects of illegal immigration will not be found in divisive rhetoric, frivolous laws, or political posturing. I'll provide effective leadership that instills hope and respect amongst one another as neighbors and Danburyans.
Okay, I think the question was, will you give out ID cards? And the answer to that question is absolutely not. I believe that Mayor DeStefano has taken an egregious step. I think he's violated federal law by giving out ID cards to natives, and that certainly will not be the policy of this administration moving forward. But more importantly, I would disagree with Mike on this. It's my duty, as I mentioned earlier, and my responsibility to point out when there's a problem in the community, to put pressure on the federal authorities, but also to work and to assist those authorities in enforcing law as we have taken an oath of office to do so. And illegal immigration has a profound impact on our city in a variety of different ways. If you look at our healthcare costs, our schools, our housing, nonprofits, social services, all of these are stressed by illegal immigration. In addition to that, there's a stress in terms of the underground economy. It's not good to have the underground economy operate. It's bad for the above ground economy. It undercuts wages and undercuts paying taxes within the city or the state or federal governments. So at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to point out a problem, to suggest solutions, and also to enforce the law. That is really what it is at the end of what it's about. It's about our nation being a nation of immigrants, but being a nation of laws. And if we can't support the very basic law of getting this country illegally, then our residents have to ask, why should I bother following any other laws? In fact, if you think about it, if an individual broke the law to get into the country, if their first step was to come into America to break the law, how can we expect them to follow any other law within our community? That's why it's so important that we follow the rule of law, we take it seriously, and we enforce it. And we'll work closely with ICE, DEA, FBI, Secret Service, anybody that comes calling that wants our assistance to enforce the law.
We're now at the point in the program where each candidate will have 1 minute for their closing comments, and I'll first recognize Helena Abrantes for her comments.
Thank you to the Chamber and all of you for attending and providing this debate opportunity. Mayor, I thank you, and I also would like to challenge you to 3 more debates. Debates that the general public can attend for free and at times convenient to them, such as evenings or weekends. And I have already agreed to 2 more, and I hope you will also. Voters need to clearly understand our position on the issues that are most important now and in the future. My passion and love for Danbury is great. It's my family's home. It's our collective home. Our sense of community, of belonging, of embracing and celebrating our commonalities and our differences has made Danbury a great place to live, work, play, and grow as a family throughout its history. I hope you will embrace our vision, feel renewed hope, a rekindled respect for community and for one another, and realize the deliverable results that our new path of progress for Danbury will bring. Thank you and God bless.
Once again, I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this event. I certainly enjoyed the opportunity to discuss the challenges that face our great city. And you know, each day when I wake up, I'm proud to go into City Hall and to work to improve our community. Being mayor of Danbury is an incredible honor. You know, being mayor is more than just being able to read from a prepared script. It's about being able to drive an agenda. And I've been able to drive an agenda that's resulted in success for our city. And I'm proud that the Democrats in our county council have voted unanimously 91% of the time with that agenda for Danbury. That means we're doing something right. And Danbury is on a roll with new jobs, public improvements all around us. And I'm honored to work with a motivated and dedicated team at City Hall that has created a new era in advancement for our city. I'm honored to work with this business community and our residents to strike the balance of economic development and for quality of life. And finally, I got to tell you, I'm blessed to be married to a woman who supports me in every way. She has become a strong community advocate in her own right. And at the start of this debate, I said that Danbury's best days lie yet ahead. I truly believe that. And with God's grace and your support, we'll make our journey to a better world successful. So thank you for being here, and God bless America.
I want to thank both of our candidates and our three panelists for a very interesting and invigorating discussion. On behalf of the Chamber, I want to thank all of you for your attending today, and have a safe trip to wherever you're going.